I'm Remo, and this is the Daily Signal for June 26, 2025. Breaking overnight, deadly strikes, massive defense spending commitments, and international tensions escalating across 3 continents. Here are today's top 10 stories that will shape your day. NATO just doubled defense spending targets to 5% of GDP as Trump declares victory. Russian missiles kill 17 in devastating overnight attack on Ukrainian civilians. Iran's nuclear program crippled by recent U.S. strikes. Israeli intelligence confirms UK announces purchase of 12 nuclear-capable F-35A stealth fighters. Kenya erupts, 8 dead as Gen Z protesters battle police in violent clashes. Critical ceasefire hanging by thread as diplomatic talks show promise. Trump and Zelenskyy meet. Higher NATO spending may deter future Russian aggression. Odesa's Black Sea beaches become unlikely war refuges for Ukrainian civilians. Jeff Bezos's ugly wedding invitation sparks social media mockery and Venice protests. Iran's supreme leader emergence signals major changes ahead for Middle East. Now let's dive into each story. NATO just made history. Alliance leaders agreed to more than double defense spending targets to 5% of GDP by 2035. That's 3.5% for core defense, plus 1.5% for security infrastructure. President Trump called it a monumental win for America. Here's what happened. Currently, only 22 out of 32 NATO members meet the basic 2% target. Poland leads at over 4%, while countries like Spain initially opposed the massive increase. But Russian aggression changed everything. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said there's no alternative given the threats. Why this matters to you? This represents trillions in new military spending globally. Your tax dollars, defense industry jobs, and global security balance all shift dramatically. The Ukraine war just rewrote international defense strategy. Russian forces killed 17 people in one of their deadliest attacks on Ukrainian civilians this week. The overnight missile and drone barrage targeted Kyiv region residential areas, hospitals, and civilian infrastructure. This follows last week's attack that killed 28 and injured over 100. The pattern is clear. Russia continues deliberately targeting civilians despite international condemnation. 7 confirmed dead in the latest Kyiv strike, with scores more injured. The human cost: families destroyed, children orphaned, entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. This isn't military strategy. It's systematic terror against civilians trying to survive. Breaking intelligence reveals recent U.S. airstrikes significantly damaged Iran's nuclear program. Israeli analysis shows the strike set back Iran's weapons development by months, possibly years. The targeted facilities were critical to uranium enrichment and weapons research. While official details remain classified, the assessment suggests Iran's path to nuclear weapons just got much longer and more expensive. Critical context: this happens as Iran-Israel tensions remain explosive. The strikes represent a major escalation in the shadow war that's been raging across the Middle East. Britain announces it's buying 12 F-35A stealth fighters specifically configured to carry nuclear weapons. This isn't routine equipment. These jets represent a major upgrade to UK's nuclear deterrent capability. The F-35A can penetrate advanced air defenses and deliver nuclear payloads with unprecedented precision. The purchase signals Britain's commitment to nuclear deterrence amid rising global tensions. Strategic significance: as threats multiply worldwide, nuclear-capable nations are modernizing their arsenals. The UK just joined an exclusive club of countries with fifth-generation nuclear delivery systems. Kenya explodes in violence as Gen Z protesters battle police, leaving 8 dead and hundreds injured. The clashes represent deep frustration with government policies, economic conditions, and political leadership. Young Kenyans are demanding change, taking to streets in major cities. Police response has been brutal, with tear gas, water cannons, and live ammunition used against demonstrators. The death toll continues rising. What's driving this? Economic hardship, corruption, and lack of opportunities for young people. This is Africa's largest economy facing its worst civil unrest in years. A critical ceasefire hangs in the balance as diplomatic talks continue. U.S. envoys describe the dialogue as promising, but cautious optimism masks underlying tensions. The Iran-Israel ceasefire currently holds, but both sides remain on high alert. Any miscalculation could reignite conflict across the Middle East. diplomats are working around the clock to maintain fragile peace. Stakes couldn't be higher. Regional war, oil price spikes, and global economic disruption all depend on these talks succeeding. President Trump met with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy at the NATO summit, discussing how increased defense spending might deter future Russian aggression. Zelenskyy pushed for expanded weapon support, especially drones and air defense systems. Trump's message was clear: NATO allies must pay their fair share for collective defense. Higher spending demonstrates resolve that could prevent future conflicts. Zelenskyy warned that without full support, Russian attacks will intensify. The dynamic: America's commitment to Ukraine remains strong, but burden sharing with allies becomes increasingly important as conflicts multiply globally. In surreal scenes from Odesa, Ukraine's Black Sea beaches have become unexpected refuges from war. Civilians and soldiers alike find brief respite along the coastline, seeking normalcy amid ongoing conflict. The beaches offer psychological escape from air raid sirens, bomb shelters, and constant fear. Families bring children to play in sand while military personnel decompress between deployments. Human resilience: even in war zones, people create moments of peace and humanity. These beaches represent hope and determination to maintain normal life despite extraordinary circumstances. Jeff Bezos' wedding invitation to fiancée Lauren Sanchez has sparked massive social media mockery. Critics call the butterfly-decorated Venice wedding invite ugly, tacky, and comparable to clip art. The controversy deepens Venice resident anger over the billionaire's lavish ceremony. Local activists threaten to block canals and streets, viewing the event as an oligarchic display disconnected from ordinary people's struggles. Cultural moment: when the world's richest man can't buy good taste, social media pounces. The backlash reflects broader public frustration with extreme wealth inequality. Signals suggest major changes ahead in Iran's leadership structure. When the supreme leader next emerges publicly, he'll be leading a significantly transformed nation facing internal and external pressures. Economic sanctions, nuclear program setbacks, and regional conflicts have reshaped Iran's strategic position. The leadership must navigate unprecedented challenges while maintaining regime stability. Regional implications: Iran remains a key player in Middle East dynamics. Any leadership changes could dramatically alter relationships with Israel, Saudi Arabia, and global powers. Three critical themes emerge from today's stories: escalating military spending globally, civilian populations bearing conflict costs, and leadership transitions amid international pressure. The NATO defense spending surge reflects a fundamental shift in global security thinking. When allies commit to doubling military budgets, it signals preparation for larger conflicts ahead. This connects directly to ongoing violence in Ukraine and Middle East tensions. Meanwhile, ordinary people pay the price: Ukrainian civilians targeted by Russian missiles, Kenyan youth clashing with police, Venice residents protesting billionaire excess. Power struggles play out while regular people suffer consequences. Leadership changes in Iran, defense commitments in NATO, and diplomatic fragility worldwide suggest we're witnessing a major realignment of international relations. The post-Cold War era is definitively over. Your takeaway: these aren't distant events. Defense spending affects your taxes, international conflicts impact your economy, and global instability shapes your future. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember that today's headlines become tomorrow's history. This is Remo with the Daily Signal. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you tomorrow.